defending its position, defending the population centers, and defending the towns. And all along the rebels have been on an attack on the SPLA positions. But it will reach a point, obviously, that the SPLA will have to go out and try to conduct preemptive strike on the positions of the rebels, which unfortunately are very tricky because some of their positions are within the territory of the Republic of Sudan.
Col Africano Mande, Acting Spokesperson for South Sudan Military, thank you so much for speaking with us on Network Africa. We really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, we'll take a quick break now on Network Africa. When we come back, we'll be discussing the issue of child soldiers recruitment with with a member of the Peace Direct organization. Please stay with us for details. Welcome back. You're still watching Network Africa on Channels Television. Now we're looking majorly at the issue of South Sudan, particularly with the abduction of 89 boys, which is being speculated as for the purpose of using them as child soldiers. And to discuss this with us now via Skype from London is Tom Gilhepsey, who is the Director of Strategic Partnerships with Peace Direct. That's an organization which is highly involved in helping children who are recruited as soldiers. Tom, thank you so much for speaking with us on the program.
Thank you.
Now, I'd like to ask you if you believe that the abduction of these boys might be for the purpose of child soldiers, even though authorities in South Sudan are saying as a matter of policy that is probably not the case.
I can't really comment on the specific case of South Sudan. I don't know enough about the context or the specific case of those children being abducted to make a comment on that.
Okay, but we do know that your organization is highly involved in helping children who were recruited as child soldiers. But now, what is the purpose for the recruitment? Why are children usually the target?
It varies. Children are vulnerable. They are easily manipulated. They often demonstrate less fear and less sort of recognition of the morals of right and wrong. So they can be more easily manipulated into committing acts of violence. They are, with the onset of light weapons, they can carry weapons which in the past younger soldiers wouldn't be able to carry because they weren't physically strong enough. So there's different reasons why they're recruited and the different situations around their purposes.
Now, what effects could this situation have on children at the end of the day, be it psychological or physical?
A lot depends on their experience. Different children are recruited for different reasons. So some children may have joined an armed group voluntarily. Some may actually believe in what they are fighting for. Some may see the situation back in their families as not something they want to be a part of anymore, either because of extreme poverty. They may feel that often a military group can actually offer them a more secure day-to-day sort of food on their plate and promises of jobs and prosperity. So there can be economic reasons that voluntarily encourage children to actually join armed groups. Often they are abducted or forcibly recruited, and that the circumstances of their recruitment will depend on how affected they are by their experiences, and then once they are actually part of the armed group, what their purposes are and what their experience is within the armed group will also have an effect. So some children may be used as cooks and porters and may never be exposed to extreme violence. Others will have been subject to sexual violence, subject to committing acts of violence on other people. In some cases, they're even forced to kill their own families. So depending on what they've experienced will affect what their long-term consequences are to them emotionally and psychologically. And that's before you've considered the fact that these children may be out of education for many years and not be able to return to education. And when they return to their communities, they may well be ostracized by their communities, or their families and the communities may be experiencing the same psychological issues that they've faced because they've also experienced extreme violence and conflict.
So how can situations like this be avoided in countries that have been hit by conflict? The issue of child recruitment.
Well, the resolving the conflict in the first place is obviously the best way to solve this. I mean, conflict, it creates an environment where there is a lack of security for children and a lack of protection of children. So ending the conflict will give those children more protection. It will also mean that the rebel groups and the armed groups that are using the children will have less need for them and less justification for taking them. So obviously ending the conflict is the first and foremost thing that needs to happen. I understand that the situation in the camp, where the children that were taken in South Sudan, there could be more protection around those particular camps where large populations are known to be holding. And also in other countries and in other parts of South Sudan, there will be communities that need to be protected in order to have the children not so vulnerable to forced recruitment or indeed voluntary joining.
Thank you so much for speaking with us, Tom. We really do appreciate your time. Tom Joel-Hepsi is the Director of Strategic Partnerships with Peace Direct. That's an organization that is highly involved in helping children who are recruited as soldiers, and he's been telling us more about that concerning the speculation that the 89 boys who were abducted from South Sudan were probably taken in order to be recruited as child soldiers. Thank you so much. Now